أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The chairman of this occasion, my mentor, Professor S.U. Abdullahi, who is being ably represented by Engineer Muhammad Lawal Yusuf, the chairman of the Ikara First Unity Forum, Malay Sharif Abubakar, representative of Kauran Zazzau, Alhaji Jafar Faki, Sarkin Saula, the secretary Jamati Zalatul Bida wal Qamatu Sunnah Kaduna State, my brother Adamu Jamfalan, my elder brother Abdullahi Tanko. I have forgotten his title, but he's not wearing his turban, so I cannot be surcharged. Madauci Ikara. My father, Sarkin Haimbawa Suleiman Dayaro, other members of the high table, notably my friend Hamza Ibrahim, my elder brother Dairu Sule, and elder brother Barba Maman, and all the people I can't remember, and my friend, of course, Ali. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants, Assalamu alaikum. Unfortunately, I'm going to deviate a little bit because tunda aka fara ana magana da Hausa, and an yi min magana zan yi magana akan human capital development skills rather than certificates. So na rubuta takardata da Turanci, zan ci gaba an yi presenting ɗinta da Turanci, inda ya kamata zan yi bayani da Hausa ko zan ƙara wani sharhi zan yi ƙoƙari in yi haka. But at the end of the day na tabbata su wanda suka tsara wannan taro za su fahimci me nayi, kuma takardar da kasidin da zan bada a nan wurin za ta yi musu amfani a round table discussions ɗinsu. So saboda haka za a yi mun haƙuri akan wannan infraction. Kafin in fara presentation ɗina zan shiga layin magabata da suka yi magana na fatan alheri ga wannan ƙungiya da ƙarfafa musu gwiwa da fatan Allah ya ɗorar da ita akan tafarkin da ta fara. Quickly ina da wasu shawarwari guda biyu ko uku ko hudu da nake son in ba su kafin in magana akan takardana. Na farko, wajibi ne idan kuna son wannan al'amari ya yiwu ku cire siyasa a cikin shi, kada ku saka siyasa. Siyasa ta zama part of our life. Kusan kowa yana siyasa wace iri ko wata iri, ko a nan ko a can. Amma idan kuna son wannan abun ya yiwu ku cire siyasa a ciki, ku tsaya tsayin daka. In za ku siyasa ku yi a wani wuri, wani platform daban, amma wannan dai da Allah ya yi kokari as much as possible a cire harkar siyasa a cikinta don muna son ta ɗore. Abu na biyu, ku yi adalci duk abin da za ku yi. Ɗaya daga cikin abubuwan da suka sa wasu makamantanku da suka yi ƙoƙarin su wasu abubuwa irin waɗannan ba su yi ba kenan. An sa son zuciya da son rai da rashin adalci. Shi adalci shi ke ɗorar da abu, Allah ne ya faɗa. Abu na uku, sai kun fara thinking outside the box, saboda duk abin da za a yi idan babu funding maganan banza ne. As time goes on za ku gane cewa ba za ku iya ba, don yau da gobe sai Allah. So think outside the box, start thinking of how you are going to source funds in a sustainable manner. Abu na hudu, ko da ke misali ne chairman na Ikara First Unity Forum yake bada, to amma tunda ya shafe ni dole in yi magana akai. Yana magana akan research. Research abu ne mai wahala balle a agriculture, but I'll just give you a piece of information. Mu a IAR muna da offices a kowane local government, muna da zonal offices, muna da kuma representative, kuma nan da IAR is a stone through. Duk wata matsala da ta shafi agriculture idan kuka zo kuka gaya mana za a yi kokari a saka ta a cikin tsarin bincike da za a yi, wanda ba sai kun wahalar da kanku kun tada da kanku hankali ba, because abu ne da is capital intensive. Ko gwamnati ba kowa ke da iya kudin research ba balle individual ko organizations. So take note. Finally, ku samu a practicable and sustainable monitoring and evaluation system da zai rinka ba ku feedback on duk activities ɗinku, because shi ne zai sa ku ga kurakurai da gyare-gyaren da za ku yi, kuma ku rinka dubawa after your work plan for a year ko kuma budget ko whatever, what have you been able to achieve and many problems inda suka faru, where do you need to improve. So that is very important, so take note. With these few remarks, I'm now going to present my paper. First of all, if you want to speak about certificates and skills in Nigeria, you have to go back to the history of education in Nigeria. You recall that Nigeria is a colony of the British government, and our education system is fashioned out in line with the British colonial education system, whereby we have three distinct classes of our educational certification. Number one, the university and institutions that award degrees, and the primary objective of university education that awards degrees is to produce competent professionals who could be researchers, inventors, and top policy makers for government. The second category is what we call polytechnics, monotechnics, and other centers that award diplomas and other certificates. And their primary objective is to provide middle manpower assistance to the first class of graduates that have degrees at the highest level. And the last category, which is the entrepreneurial component, we have examples even here in Ikara. We used to have a BATC, a very functional one, like the BATCs, CT and Guilds that are being done at the polytechnics, trade test, and the rest of them. And they are at the lower level, and their primary objective, yeah, it's better now. The last category is the entrepreneurial category, which I gave you example with the BATCs, CT and Guilds, trade test, and the rest of them. And their primary objective is to provide skillful labor to service the graduates and the professionals, and also the middle manpower technology that we produce in the polytechnics and the monotechnics. So, if you look at these three classes of education, each one has its own importance and it has its own place in the development of any kind of nation. However, the three distinct classes were not properly established and adhered to diligently for so many reasons. Number one, ab initio, the British colonial masters were not interested in teaching us the entrepreneurial aspects of all the professional courses we were doing. Why? Because they know it is the basis for development. That is why these days you find so-called professional, somebody will call himself a mechanical engineer, but if you ask him to go and remove a tire in a particular car, he don't even know how to operate the jack, and he will tell you that he's a mechanical engineer. If you call an electrical engineer and ask him to come and weld a broken iron and this window, he will start telling you stories, because he wouldn't know how to do it. He has not been properly taught. The entrepreneurial aspect of all the professional courses were not properly adhered to, and at the end of the day, we are calling ourselves professionals, but we really don't have the skills that makes us the real professionals, and it was deliberate. To make matters worse, the second issue, for some of us who are very familiar with the project called Nigeria, after the amalgamation of the North and the South Protectorate in 1914, the southern part of this country had an advantage over us. The Western education came through them. They embraced it, and they had more number of graduates and every other thing in the Western education compared to us. So they were always emphasizing paper qualification, so that they will diminish our own competence and competitions. That's our second problem. The third problem, as a result of these two reasons, we found ourselves, everybody is worshipping degrees, everybody is worshipping paper qualification, and nobody cares to recognize skills, potentials. So we now, where we are, the fourth problem. I can tell you that we are almost late, but it's never too late, and it's always better to be late than never, because in the last 50-something years after our independence, we have completely neglected this aspect of the entrepreneurial component of our education, which is the most important. But I think we have started realizing our mistakes, and this part of the reason why I congratulate the organizers of this program for just realizing same at the same time like we are doing. So for academic exercise, if I want to tell you what is human capital development in the first place, we can say human capital development is a process of enhancing or improving the abilities and knowledge and skills of an individual or group to make them productive and valuable in life. It is about investing in people to help them reach the full potential, both personally and professionally. That is what we call human capital development. So if you look at it critically, it is a way of life, because by this definition, that's what it means. So what of skills? What is skill? Skill can be defined as the ability of one to perform a specific task or activity which is developed through practice, experience, and or training combined. That is skills. And if we are talking of certificate, everybody should know that certificates are formal documents or credentials awarded to individuals who have completed a specific training program or demonstrated a certain level of knowledge and skill in a particular area. So they serve as evidence of someone has achieved a standard of proficiency in a given area or subject. So when you look at the definitions of both human capital development, skills, and certificates, it is now clear that skills and certificates are the components of human capital development. That is why I said that is the life as a whole. So now, why skills? Why skills? Why do we want to de-emphasize the issue of education? Why do we want to de-emphasize the issue of certificates? Why skills now? Skills are crucial to personal and professional success, especially in today's dynamic and rapidly evolving job market. The landscape is increasingly favorable individuals with diverse skill sets. While certification certainly holds merit, they only represent a snapshot of knowledge rather than a comprehensive view of individual capabilities. Examples abound in so many countries the world over, even including those so-called advanced countries. Because I can tell you, in China, in India, in the US, even in UK, if you have a skillful level, certificated skillful level, you earn more than the so-called professionals, because IT has even reduced the number of available jobs, especially in terms of real academic exercise like design. We have a lot of students, I'm sure, even among us here, who have graduated in computer science. The best you can do now to develop your skill in computer science is probably to know how to develop a website. Now with artificial intelligence, most people don't even need you. And at the end of the day, you find that there are a lot of people who have done a lot of things and they cannot even patent it in this country. So it is pirated, and at the end of the day, you just do the jackie work while somebody will drive the benefit and all that things. And as I'm telling you now, if you go to China, I think I saw a program some 4 months ago in China. I think they have given a moratorium period for virtually all their workers in the local government because of the heavy debts they have for 2 years for everybody to go and learn a skill. They will be paying the salary for the next 2 years, but after the 2 years you just go and find your way because they can no longer sustain it. So that's to show you. And this is a country where if you go to China now, you go to some part of China, you see that they have future sites for development and occupation where they have built houses, provide services, everything, but the place has not been habitated yet, just in anticipation. So people with this kind of leverage, this kind of arrangement, this kind of development are telling their local government workers to go on 2 years moratorium because they can no longer be able to sustain them, so that they go and learn skills, and thereafter everybody to be on his own. You know that it's a warning signal to all of us. So there are so many reasons that have been adduced as to why we should go for skills. Number one, employability, that is employment ability. Having valuable skills make one more attractive to employers, increasing their chances of finding responsible jobs. So if you have skills, you stand a better chance of securing job better than somebody who has a certificate. That is number one. Number two, productivity. The productivity of a skillful person is always better than a certificated person, because you will see as we go along, a skillful person is versatile, he is multi-purpose in training, and he can participate in so many other things. You can change him from one facet of your production line to another, while somebody who is a certificated person will only be adamant in his area of specialization. Number three, adaptability. Somebody who has skills is a better adaptable employee. He has more adaptability than a certificated person. Number four, career growth. Continuous skill development open up opportunity for career development and advancement of individuals, unlike somebody who is fixated in one certificated area. Number five, problem solving. When you are faced with certain problems and you have decided to sit down and find solutions, somebody who has skills will be found to be more useful than somebody who is certificated. So also number six, when you are talking about innovation, anybody that is skillful, you find him is highly innovative. You can see there is a very recent case in the social media of, I think, somebody from Gombe, and a fairly old man. Look at the level of innovations that old man has brought to use in the society. I think he manufactured a irrigation pump that works with, generate power with water. He had a small TV station that was working within a radius of about 3 or 7 kilometers. And there are a lot of things. It was all over, I saw it. And the man is about 60 something. And he has never been to the four corners of the school, talk less of the university. And somebody will now look at that man and tell you that he is worthless. He must be joking. So when you have all these qualities and these skills, you have advantage number 7, which is versatility. You are going to be a very versatile person. Number 8, when you have skills, you have what is called self-confidence. You are very confident of yourself, and that is why you can risk anything, you can venture into anything, because you always like trying. But A certificated person is always being haunted by the fact that he is this, he is that. He wouldn't want to make a mistake. Lastly, number 9, networking. A skilled person, because of the versatility he has, because of the confidence, the innovation, the career growth he has had, you find him with a lot of networking. So, what are some of the classical examples of skillful labor and entrepreneurial labels that we have commonly available, which we can pick? Under communication, for instance, we have what is called motivational speakers. There are people who are just gifted. He has never been to school, you don't even have any certificate, but if you are going to have a ceremony and you call him to come and do the master of MC, he will be glad to do it, and he will do it confidently. That is a skill. So if you recognize that is a skill you have, you develop it. There are people who are motivational speakers. That is why you find some people going to be pastors in the church. Some people go to the village market and preach. If you are not a motivational speaker, you cannot do that. That is a skill. And it is only when you have the skills that the education, training, and all that thing will refine it. So you need to identify what is your skill. We will come to that when we go to the next topic. Under agriculture, 2 previous speakers have spoken about the voluminous resources we have. Vast agricultural land. Up to now, in the whole of this country, we have not utilized we are at about 37% of the arable land of the entire country, and over 60-something% of our irrigatable land is still being underutilized. And I will tell you, because that's where I come from, dry season farming is the most practical poverty alleviation system that we can encourage in this part of our country, but we have neglected it completely. So under agriculture, you have a lot of things: irrigation, backyard gardening, orchard, fisheries, poultry, goat farming, breeding and fattening scheme, agribusiness. We can see what is happening in this part of our country. People are coming from another part of the country to buy our entire produce during harvest. We are all looking at them. Nobody is doing anything. We are not participating in the business, and it is a very simple thing, because it's just buying, processing, and storage. You become a principal actor in the market industry, but we cannot do it. We are not doing it, and it's very important and it's very simple. I can tell you, I have a friend. He came and borrowed 1.5 million naira from me. He did a partner scheme of 4 months, and he targeted the Eid Kabir festive period. Up to this time, this is his 5th year. Up to this year, this last year, believe me sincerely, we were sending 2 hefty rams to me as a gift after he has returned my money immediately after the first exercise, and he was so happy about it. And this is something everybody can do. It's not difficult. You can start at a smaller scale and you'll be scaling up gradually. So these are issues. Under construction, we have so many things. We have plumbing, we have painting, plaster, POP, bricklaying, you know, so many of them, iron bending, welding, so many things. So I think the entrepreneurial component, like I had this Icarafas Unity Forum has started with, making cosmetics, soaps. It's a very simple procedure, and you can teach it to a group of people within a short period of time, and with a very small amount of money as starter pack or take-off grant, they can be able to do well. Tailoring, we have a lot of people who are professional tailors who have the skills, but we are not encouraging them. We have spice making for women, which is becoming very lucrative now. Homemade drinks, ice making, sales of cold water, especially during hot season and Hamatan. This and so many other things, I think they are all options for you to look at. So now, what are the procedures What is the process for skill acquisition? Skill acquisition is a valuable and dynamic process. You have to keep that at the back of your mind. It's dynamic. If you sit down and remain in your cocoon, you will be left at the back of the town and you won't even know what is following or what is trending in town. So it's dynamic. You have to be up and doing. The following are the practical steps and guides for skills acquisition. Number one, you have to clearly identify what is your skill. What is your capability? What is your capacity to do what and what and what? That is number one. If you don't identify what you want to do and where is your skill tending towards something that you know you can do it, you have a problem. Because if your aptitude and your skill is not good in mechanic, it's good in tailoring, and you say you want to go and be a mechanic, you insist that you have to go and be a mechanic because Abdullah Tanko is a mechanic and he is making a lot of money, you have problem. Your skills is in tailoring. If you identify that fact, go to tailoring. Don't insist on going to mechanical aspect of it. Number two, that is what I have explained, self-assessment. You have to assess yourself. And you also have to assess your environment. Because if you are living in Ikara, for instance, and there are about 10 people that you know are doing POP, you know that the market is going to be a bloated market. So even if you have the skills for POP, you should think outside the box. You either go somewhere and do it, or you think of an alternative, something if you are going to remain in Ikara, because you don't want to bloat the market. So that's the self-assessment we are talking. Three, you have to do research and planning. Create a plan that outlines the skills you need to acquire and the resources available. That is very important. You can't go and venture into something that the materials are not locally available and you have to be disturbing your life all the time expecting consignment from far distant places, which will eventually affect your market and your client, and there will be problems. Number four, you have to set realistic milestones and timelines for whatever you are going to do, and you also have to stay motivated. That is very important. Number five, choose the right learning resources. That is, are you going to have a workshop? Is it the best thing to do for you? Is it an online class or course? Are there books or tutorials that you need to know that you have to combine formal and informal education? Number six, you have to do networking and mentoring. You have to find somebody. You can't just wake up one day and say you want to be a skillful labor provider and you start something without the necessary networking and mentoring facilities. Number seven, you have to practice and apply whatever skill you acquire by working on practical problems. Number eight, you have to have a feedback and reflection. That is, seek feedback from your peers, mentors, instructors, and other people within the industry so that you can perfect your experiences, challenges, and outline your successes and improvements. Number nine, you have to stay updated. And number 10, time management. Time management is very essential. If you don't manage your time, you are only wasting your time. Number 11, you have to embrace challenges. Don't think it is going to be an easy thing. You should prepare your mind for eventualities. And whatever comes, you should try to shoulder it properly. And lastly, document your progress, record your achievements on completed projects and acquire additional skills so that at any time you can showcase what you have been doing and what you are doing, and you have what is called a profile which you can easily use to improve yourself and promote yourself. So remember that skills acquisition is a lifelong journey, so you have to be patient, you have to stay committed and enjoy the process of continuous learning and improvement. The skills you acquire will not only enhance your career, but will also contribute to your personal development and fulfillment. So now, what is the way forward? We have looked at why we should emphasize skills. We have said what the skills are. So now, what is the way forward? It is always better than never. We have allowed time to go. However, with the following few suggestions, I think we can be able to reverse the situation. Number one, government should revert to the original objective of classified certification system, giving each class its due importance and relevance. This should either be national, regional, or even at the level of local government in terms of implementation. What we mean is that for instance, I'm sure my father is here, he's an old teacher. He knows what we are facing as regards to the abolition of secondary teachers training colleges by a decision of the National Council on Education. And I think it is badly affecting us as a people in the entire north. And we have proposed to the governors of the northern Nigeria, I think about 4 years ago, a position paper that they should be selective and try to bring back some of these schools, because we need to fill this gap. It's very critical. So it doesn't matter if there is a policy to abolish some of these BATCs, city and girl training centers and all that, we can do our own. So that is number one. Number two, the political class and the community leaders should be challenged. I think we should start working towards entrepreneurial centers that are comprehensive and properly organized in a sustainable manner to train our teeming youth population in various trades and skills acquisition programs. That is very important. Number three, this is our own problem, our institutional problem. We have to learn to patronize whatever we are going to produce. Otherwise, we are only wasting our time. I went on a trade mission in Turkey in 2001. I was shocked. I found out that all the furnitures we wear in this country, with Italian furnitures, 8 million, 3 million, 5 million, they are being produced in Turkey and transported to Italy and now imported here. Because Turkey has a well-defined medium technology development outfit in all their organizations, in fact, all over the country. And that is why their products are always good, and they always have this system of this output is the input for the next product, things like that. Value chain addition, very fantastic. We've been to so many places in the food industry, in the furniture industry, automobile, small engines, and the rest of them. And I think this is what we need. I assure you, by the time we start patronizing our own locally produced products, we are going to get over this aspect. And lastly, we should establish a proper guidance and counseling apparatus by both teachers and parents to identify and develop talent at early stages of our youth development. In conclusion, while certificates undoubtedly hold value, we encourage you to view them as a stepping stones rather than ultimate destination. Prioritize the acquisition of skills that aligns with your passion and career goals. Remember, it is not just about what you know, but how efficiently you can apply that knowledge in diverse and challenging situations. We have seen the case of Professor Kabir, the mechanical engineer. He was also in the social media of recent, who has turned into a professional welder. They try to give him another name. They say he's a fabricator. They say no, he's a welder. So I think it's a message he is sending to us. He's a professor of mechanical engineering. He's our colleague. Finally, I would like to tell you that certificate puts you among your equals, while skills keep you employed. So keep at the back of your mind the words of a philosopher, Kevin Odu, who said, "A salary is a drug they give you to forget your dreams." So try to be an employer rather than an employee, so that nobody kills or make you forget your dreams. Thank you for listening.
So, da Allah ku kara tafa Professor Adamu Jamfalan bisa